Nice.
Had to get that out there.
That was good. I like that. I'm going to put that in the beginning of the show. That's how the show's going to start.
Amazing Grace. Hello there, my friends. This is the Reverend Slick with Coliseum Home Video's presentation of Survivor Series. I'll tell you, my friends, it was some of the most exciting action I've ever witnessed in the World Wrestling Federation. And you know, my friends, there was some darkness, but there was also some light. And don't you worry, my friends, whenever you see darkness in the World Wrestling Federation, just think of it as temporary, because I want you to know that the good Reverend is here to spread the message of light, the message of joy, the message of peace. And I want you to know that I give you my commitment that I will be on my job to preach the gospel of light. And I say right now, let the fireworks begin. Glory.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Job Squad Wrestling Review Podcast, Episode 2.
Episode 2!
Numero dos. My name is Brian Bennett. I'm the Backpack Kid, the immortal Job, or whatever you want to call me.
And I like to be called the Man of Steel, but if you want to just call me Chris, that works too.
Chris works just fine.
Thanks.
Today, we are going to be reviewing the 1992 Survivor Series.
Yes, from the WWF years, the World Wrestling Federation.
Yes, and this was a weird time for the WWF. It was right after Hogan left. A few months after Hogan left, but really, the WWF was in a crazy time of turmoil. They had the sex scandal going on, the steroid stuff going on, no Hogan. All the big stars were left. The Legion of Doom is gone. Hogan's gone. Warrior's gone. We'll get into a little bit about that.
Yeah, I know what really happened when why he wasn't.
Chris has the scoop.
I have the inside scoop because basically, if you guys have seen the banner of the Survivor Series pay-per-view, it advertises the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, but
in the actual pay-per-view, he doesn't show up. He's replaced by Mr. Perfect. But we'll get into that later.
We will delve into that a little bit. We're watching the Silver Vision version of the 1992 Survivor Series, and it starts off with a promo by the Reverend Slick. He intros the show, and he says that it's the greatest action he's ever seen, blah, 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 and he talks a lot about the gospel of light. And I thought that was
follow
really
the
cool.
light.
That was really cool. It was actually a really cool promo. And then we get some sex jazz music.
Oh, yes.
To start off the show.
Yes. Nothing better than classic 1992 sex music, right?
Oh, they used that music till 93, I guess.
No, I think it was it 93? Yeah,
yeah,
it was 93
they used
because
it.
94 they used a different theme song for their intro, but yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really funny considering the time they were in, because if you look at the old WWF era before they kind of hit Attitude, kind of like the post Hulk Hogan Warrior era, they kind of dove into like a what we have now as PG era. Especially with the way they presented their
It was all
their
kid-friendly. That's all it was. A lot of people talk about the PG era. Oh, it sucks. But, like, before the Attitude era, like, from maybe 95, a little bit of 96,
Hogan
all
was
the
all
way
about
back.
Take your vitamins.
Take your vitamins, say your prayers.
Yeah.
All that shit. It was all geared towards little kids. That's why most people are fans nowadays. Like, people a little bit older than us, I would say. Grew up in that era. So,
I was born in that year, 92. That was my birth year, so.
I was born in 95, a little bit after that. I'm giving away my age. But
he's a youngling. Ladies and
Whoops.
gentlemen, please keep your pants on, alright? We have a youngling here.
Happily taken. Okay, we're intro to the show by our commentators Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan. We're welcomed into the Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio. 17,500 people in attendance, same as last year, as the 91 Survivor Series. And
really?
Yeah, same exact attendance.
Do you know where that venue was taking place at?
91?
91's venue?
That was the year where Taker beat Hogan.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was.
Because I find it kind of, coincidental that they draw the same number of seats.
But they had a worse buy rate. The buy rate was 1.4 for this year, and last year's was 2.2, I believe.
You're talking about the 1992 one? Or it's about this year's?
The 92 Survivor Series had a buy rate of 1.1, I think.
Yeah,
or 1.4.
But you have to remember, you're talking about a different time era. This is back in the day when, pay-per-view wasn't exactly affordable that much as it is now.
No, these were better numbers. They had better numbers back then than we have now. Oh, yeah.
I guess everything is streamed online now, so they get everything done right there, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, everyone's streaming. But it really doesn't matter, because the way I think about streaming is that, they're losing pay-per-view buys, but the people who are streaming it don't want to pay for it in the first place. Most of the people who are streaming it wouldn't buy it anyway.
Yeah.
They're just watching it just because. That's like me.
The actual last pay-per-view that I bought was Mania 30. And
29, you mean?
Yeah, excuse me. I don't know why
you went into the future and bought WrestleMania 30? Yeah. Actually, the only pay-per-view I've ever bought in my whole life was WrestleMania 29.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny because I would usually just go off to friends' houses. They would order a pay-per-view, and we would all just get people together and we watch it. Like this past Royal Rumble, I went to my buddy Henry's house, and he ordered a pay-per-view, and we had like 5 people at his house. Not too much, not too little. And then years before that, for the 2009 Royal Rumble, I was there with buddies of mine. We had like 10 people over. For me at Mania, I had like 15 people over at my house. I was surprised how many people actually came.
Damn.
I was actually looking on tags on Instagram. Dude, they have this like a solely dedicated wrestling bar up in NYC.
Really?
Yeah, they do. Where they stream all pay-per-views and everything, and they have parties over there. That's how they draw in money.
Sounds like our kind of place.
Then we need to move. We need to move to
New York. We need to just go to New York.
Dude, you know what? Let's fucking go to New York. Let's go to that bar during a pay-per-view night, and let's go watch some NYWC.
Let's do it, man.
Watch some. It's the Big O.
Our first match, high energy, Koko B. Ware and Owen Hart versus the Headshrinkers, Samu and Fatu, with Afa eating a chicken bone.
Chicken bone. And if you guys aren't familiar, Fatu is futurely be known as...
Wait, hold on. I got this. I got this.
What am I trying to steal your thunder?
Who is Fatu going to be later?
Uncle Quiche.
Who?
Rikishi.
Who? Put a little ass on it.
Come on. You did that straight off a WWE original. Put a little ass on it.
Sorry, I had to.
It was beautiful. It's actually such a good little vibe and song and everything. The only problem is when you hear him say "put a little ass on it," it's like you can't help but think, dude, fuck up. You're talking about your ass. That's the worst part about it.
The Headshrinkers don't get an entrance, but the show starts off with Koko and Hart coming out to actually a pretty good pop. Koko does a cartwheel.
Yes.
And Owen just being Owen just jumps up and goes, "Woo!" So that was great.
This is pre-Owen breaking Austin's neck. So this is him when he was just getting into the crowd and into
way 92
the scene. Yeah,
he was just getting over. He was in a bunch of random jobber tag teams. He was in one with Neidhart.
He would go on with Bret Hart sometimes. If you ever seen any of the tag teams
late 93, he would get into a few.
This was before. I can't remember if it was before or after Anvil. Neidhart was teaming with Bret Hart.
Oh, it was way after.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, Neidhart was gone by that time.
Yeah.
So like I said, Afa's eating chicken for some reason, and the Headshrinkers, just one of the many racist gimmicks at this time. We should have a counter, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of really racist gimmicks.
Are you kidding me?
We'll have
there were so many of them, and I'll tell you, like, you said it yourself, Koko for an African-American wrestler. Like,
that's two right there.
Like,
I didn't even think about that.
How does that, not come off?
That's
like,
too
racist.
That's
Koko
too racist gimmicks.
Like, dude, honestly, WWF, you couldn't have made it any more obvious you were subjugating him. Poor guy. I mean, and the same thing with the Headshrinkers.
Might as well just call him Bojangles.
That was
Sorry.
What?
Sorry. Oh. Yeah. Match starts off when Owen beats everybody up and tags in Koko, but then Koko just gets the heat and he's worked over.
Racist.
We get the first Bobby Heenan joke of the night.
Well, the job is half done. What do you mean? Well, if they're going to shrink Koko's head, they might as well do it because obviously someone has shrunk his haircut.
And Samu potatoes Koko with a few clotheslines, and he sells them terribly. He just kind of falls on his face, and it doesn't look very good.
You should be aware of the clotheslines.
Fatu hits a beautiful super kick, as he would do later in his career as...
Put a little ass on it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You want me to do that every time you reference his future name? You want me to do that every time he does that? Really?
Well, we'll see.
Because I don't know how many more times you're gonna reference this.
Dude, it's hilarious.
It is. Go on.
Fatu goes for a splash in the corner, but Koko moves out of the way, and Fatu eats shit on the ring post, hits his face right on the top of the ring post, not the turnbuckle, the ring post.
Like he pulls off a Dolph Ziggler pretty much.
Yeah. After that spot, Koko finally gets the hot tag. Owen comes in, he just cleans house completely. But then all of a sudden, Samu just hits a beautiful power slam. And then
it was a beautiful power slam.
Yeah, it looked really crisp.
It was clean, like it was such a perfect flow of it, off of Owen Hart's. What was I gonna say?
He was going for like a crossbody or something off the ropes.
Yeah, he caught him and just
caught him.
And he just slammed him.
And
down.
Owen is not a small guy. I mean, he may look small compared to the other guys, but he's like 240, 250. He's not a small guy at all.
Not being billed by WWF, because remember WWF, they build them like lower kind of sometimes.
I don't know about this time. I didn't catch what they announced him as.
That, or they announced him like kind of like a little heavier. Think about it.
Maybe.
Like, think about it. They build.
I didn't catch that, so I don't know.
They used to build The Rock back when he was as Rocky Maivia. When his debut, they built him at I think it was like 275. Rock couldn't have been any more than like 245, 250.
Yeah.
In real life, they build him either a little higher or a little lower.
Yeah. Depends on who you are. Like Shawn Michaels, they always build him as like 220. He wasn't over 200.
Like 200 pounds.
Yeah, there's no way.
He was 200 pounds, 195. Because the thing is, my brother's a big guy and everything, and he weighs like 165, 170 pounds. And my brother's like 5'11". He's a pretty built guy. And then I see, whenever I go to these wrestling events, I see guys like Shawn Michaels, or I see people like, what's a good example? Like The Miz or Dolph Ziggler or something like that. And they always build those guys around like the 215, 220 area. I'm like, there is no way they're that big. I'm sorry, even if they are like 6 foot, 6'1", that would give them probably like an extra like 10 pounds at most.
Yeah.
And so they have to be around like 185, 195. I give them probably like 205 at highest, especially for someone that's Dolph Ziggler. But anyway,
Anyway, after the power slam, Fatu follows up with a beautiful splash off the top rope and gets the 3. The splash looked really good. He didn't do the boss man thing where he like lands on his feet and then falls down. He just completely squished the shit out of him.
And who does that remind you of? When we say ooh, y'all say...
Oh, the Usos.
Yes.
God damn.
No.
He really does look like them.
No,
sorry,
and that's the thing. And that's what I was telling you earlier, that if you watch the match between the Headshrinkers and High Energy, dude, if you look at Rikishi, a.k.a. Fatu, a.k.a. Rikishi, a.k.a. put a little ass on it. If you look at his face, and you look at the way he had his hair done, he looks exactly like his sons. Like, his sons nowadays, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, they are complete, like...
clones.
Yes, of their father. And the way they pull off that whole splash, where they jump up and they put both their legs and their arms behind them as they're flying, and then right last second they splash.
Yeah.
It's identical. It was key. And I felt like I was watching them like as Rikishi was going around. Fatu, excuse me.
And Fatu was a big dude at this point. He wasn't as big as he would be as Rikishi, but he was still
a big guy. For him to get that kind of air, wow, I was surprised. And I was surprised. I was surprised Owen took it like a champ.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
Because the thing is, like back in the day, like they never really kind of like worried about before you land, put your elbows and your knees down, that kind of thing. They kind of just let you slam a little bit more to make it, I guess, appear more realistic. And Owen took it like a champ. He really did.
Yeah, it looked rough.
Yeah.
But we had something even worse than that later on with the Yokozuna match. But we'll talk about that
later.
A little bit
later. Before we go on to another match, please, you did not note this, and you should have noted it. The beginning of that match, when freaking Alpha is there eating the chicken, and here comes and here comes Koko Ware to run off the ropes to do an Irish whip, and here comes Alpha slapping him in the back with the stick, breaking the stick.
Yeah. I did forget to note that. That was a big part of the match, actually.
Like that was one of the few parts that I actually went like, holy shit. Because
there was a nice
I wasn't expecting it, because I'm sitting here thinking, this guy's gonna be eating chicken. He's not gonna do shit. All of a sudden, clack, and you see the stick like break in half.
Yeah.
I was like, yo.
How come the ref didn't hear that?
Dude, the ref is like the most oblivious thing in the world.
Yeah, especially back in '92.
Like, especially the ref is the most oblivious thing in the world. I understand that wrestling as a storytelling thing. But don't make the refs look like the most idiotic people in the entire world who have the hearing of, like, a fucking...
They're Helen Keller.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to go that far, but you said it. Thanks.
Yeah. After the match, we get a brain scan by Bobby Heenan, which is just an excuse to get some turkey jokes in there. I've never seen this before, but I thought it was funny.
It was great. That was actually one of my favorite segments throughout the entire pay-per-view. The whole brain scan.
Yeah, we had another one later.
It's a brain scan, and who else does he do it with but freaking Big Boss Man?
No, he doesn't do it with Boss Man. He does it with Fatu with the splash. And then he does it with Yokozuna later.
I'm thinking of the next promo after this match. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh,
I'm getting really ahead of myself. But,
cut to backstage. Lord Alfred Hayes is interviewing the Big Boss Man in the bathroom. Boss Man apparently just got done taking a shit, and he's washing his face in his hands, and Boss Man tells Nailz he's going to bring him to justice tonight.
Which then, the next promo afterwards, done by...
Sean Mooney.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep forgetting that. It's just an easy name, Mooney.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, Sean Mooney's there in the back, right after the whole interview with Lord and Big Boss Man, and Mooney's interviewing Nailz, and Nailz pretty much says the exact opposite of everything that Boss Man just said. He said, "Can we just splice it? Because it's such a good promo. It is such a good promo. But the thing is, it's just like the way he does it. It's so good. It's really convincing too. That's the thing that I like the best about it. That it was that convincing. Boss Man, he could have put a little more into it, but dude, nailed it. Like no pun intended.
Nailz nailed it. I like it.
No pun intended. Seriously, but he did it. Like he pulled it off pretty damn good. And I was like, holy shit. This guy can pull off a promo.
It was a great promo.
I've been waiting for this day for a long, long time. When I was sitting in that 6x9 cell for the past 2,478 days, I laid awake thinking at night when I got out what I'd do to the Big Boss Man. Well, now I'm out. Big Boss Man, this time you don't have those 6 other prison guards behind you. This time you will not be able to handcuff me to that steel bunk bed. Boss Man, you and your other prison guards know how good of a climber I am. Boss Man, I'm gonna climb that 15-foot pole. I'm gonna take that nightstick. I'm gonna take it and break both your stinking legs. I'm gonna take that nightstick and cram it down your stupid stinking throat, Boss Man. When I get finished with you, not even your buddies at Cobb County Jail are gonna recognize you, Boss Man. I was an innocent man. I was put there for crimes I did not do. Do you understand me, Boss Man? I'm gonna beat you within an inch of your life, and this time I'm gonna finish the job. You're gonna learn what it's like to serve hard time.
After that interview, we get another Boss Man interview.
Yeah.
And he says the same exact thing.
He says, I'm going to bring you to justice. It's like, dude, you just said that like 5 minutes ago.
He literally just repeated the thing he said in the previous promo. But the thing was cool about this is that they kind of spliced Nailz coming to the ring. Like they did a split screen.
Yeah, they did.
And Nailz was coming to the ring with no music or anything. And I thought that was kind of cool. It made the match feel cool.
Bossman did the exact same thing when he came out. There was no music. He just ran out there immediately because he cuts his promo early. And he just takes off.
Yeah, and that's because...
Right after he's done being interviewed, he says, I'm going to bring you to justice again. Like, you basically, like, I think he may have had, like, a whole, like, holy shit, the match is going on right now? And he, like, runs out. like he forgot that the match is going to happen right now. I'm pretty sure there was someone, like, in front of the cameraman going, dude, the match is going on right now. You need to get your ass out there.
Well,
like, oh, shit! And he starts running down.
And it's a good thing that he does run down because Nailz is actually going for the nightstick immediately.
It blended in perfectly. He goes right down to the ring right as soon as Nailz is heading for that nightstick right there.
Yes, and it is a nightstick match. Basically, a nightstick is hanging from a pole, and it's a big pole. If I can, I'll just recap the feud history just to give a little background of this match. So basically, Nailz was a prisoner that the Big Boss Man, when he was a prison guard, apparently mistreated while in prison, and now jails. Now jails. That's actually a cool name. Jails. Nailz comes out.
It sounds like a bad beauty salon.
Jails Nails. It's in the prison like playground or whatever they're called. Prison playground.
He's in there bench pressing while getting a pedicure.
But basically, Nailz comes out of prison and he just wants revenge on the big boss man, and he claims that he's an innocent man. But apparently, boss man has looked over his records and knows that all the crimes that he's committed against society. So, like I said, Nailz tries to go for the Nightstick before boss man even is in the ring, and I thought that was fucking cool because it's realistic, you know. Like, why wouldn't you go for it immediately? You know?
Seriously. Fuck the bell ring and go ahead and just go right for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the Nightstick and just beat his ass when he gets in the ring. Makes sense. Go on, please.
Yeah. So there's nice brawling back and forth to start the match. Nailz just goes for the choke. He only has like really 2 moves. He has like a punch and a choke.
Well, it kind of goes more to his character if you think about it.
Yeah, it does.
The guy that recently escaped from prison. He's wearing a freaking prison. He's wearing his prison attire to the ring, which is all orange.
Are you allowed to keep that?
Of course.
Really? You're allowed to keep it? The garb, the fucking orange suit. Did they let you? Did he steal that?
Like it.
Did he steal it?
If not, then WWF was really good at creating a legitimate one.
Yeah, it did look pretty cool.
And so it kind of makes sense more to his character because he's not exactly going to be a technical guy. He's going to be a brawler.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a guy that's, shit, you got some guy, I'm just going to find the quickest way to knock him out and then go for what I need.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who think work rate is like the end all be all when it comes to things, but it all depends on the character. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's some characters that benefit from just brawling all the time. There's some characters that benefit from being workhorses, like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and things like that. You got to have diversity, and
Definitely.
I think that's a really good thing. And a lot of people don't give them a lot of credit for that.
Like I can imagine, like for someone like your character when you were the Backpack Kid, I can imagine like your character Backpack Kid. The first thing I think in my head is when you go into a match and you run down to the ring, I just see you flailing your arms.
Just
flailing your arms and hitting someone with your skateboard.
Just bring my backpack into the ring.
That'd be a trademark. Every week you have a new skateboard that you just break over someone's back.
Well, I use my backpack. That's the point. That's the gimmick, man. I take it out and there's
like a freaking little,
there's like a brick in there.
There's like a little iron brick in there that for some particular reason is in there.
So Bossman goes to reach for the stick, but takes a Flair bump off the top rope.
A Flair bump.
Yeah, you know how Flair always goes for the crossbody.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Nailz loves to go for the choke, but he doesn't really know any other moves, like I just said. I just kind of wrote that down. He goes for a lazy rear chin lock, and Bobby Heenan tells him to jerk it off.
Jerk it off, rip it off, give it to him, feed it to him.
Yes.
He goes.
Yes.
He goes.
I remember that so vividly.
Yeah, he goes.
One of the many little puns Bobby the Brain is throwing in there.
And then he corrects himself and goes, jerk it off, rip it off, gank it off, take his head off. And it was a really bad looking rear chin lock. And I was did you notice the stick was kind of like hanging? Like it was on like 2 little strings and then one of the strings broke or something?
That was when Bossman tried to go up for it and he couldn't pull it down exactly. So Nailz knew he had to buy himself a little more time and act a little more injured. Because he saw that, oh shit, he's not pulling down the thing yet. And Bobby the Brain even says, he can't pull it down, Like, he kind of breaks character there a little bit.
There's a double clothesline spot toward the end. Bossman doesn't sell it, though. He just gets right up and goes for the Nightstick.
That's one thing you notice about these matches, though, and I wanted to point that out. That during these old matches from back in the old WWF era days, when someone took a bump, it's like they immediately got right back up. That happened a lot. I don't know if you noticed that throughout the entire pay-per-view. Like let's say... Nowadays, you see someone get clotheslined. They stay down for a few seconds because it's, I just got clotheslined. It hurts. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you close someone, they're getting right back up. Like, oh my god. Then, which kind of gives you a more of an excuse to go for another one. But it doesn't sell it.
It depends on the match. It depends on the characters. It depends on a lot of stuff.
But the thing is, I think these guys were cut short for time because remember, the matches only lasted like 5 minutes.
Yeah. This match was kind of short. Once he gets the Nightstick, the crowd just goes apeshit. And he hits him a few times. He gets pretty good shots in there. But then eventually Nailz gets the stick and beats Bossman with it.
Nailz.
Jails.
Love it. I think it's so funny.
That's actually not a bad name. Jails.
Jails Nails, I'm telling you, dude.
Bossman gets the stick again. He hits the Bossman slam and gets the 3. Nailz walks to the backwards, just seething at Bossman through his teeth. I thought that was kind of cool. What'd you think of this match?
Like I said, I felt it was rushed. and I felt that the bumps could have been taken a little more seriously. But after reviewing it and after kind of seeing what's going on and understanding the business, I see why they did it, because they had to quicken the pace up, so they wanted to get as many moves as they could in there.
Yeah,
with trying to, I guess, sell it as good as they could.
They had to get their shit in.
They had to get their shit in. They had to get their in. So, yeah, and honestly, I understand it, but if I had to rate it, I'd give it probably like a 6.
I'd give it a little less than that. I don't know. It was cool for what it is, but it was kind of short. And I thought it was funny at the end. Vince kept going, "Oh, this isn't over. This isn't over. This won't be the last time. Blah 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 blah." But sure enough, it is over, because Nailz would be fired soon after. Do you know that story?
Yeah, I do know that story. And, if you were going to point that out, I was going to, because I was going to say this would be his one of his very last matches.
It was in the WWF, at least. He would go on to other promotions. He basically, you know the story, do you? Why he was fired?
Vaguely. Go ahead and enlighten me and our viewers.
He was angry at Vince, and he claimed that he was sexually molested by Vince. Yeah.
Well, seeing as how Vince loves big, overly muscular guys.
Can you imagine fucking Vince forcing Nailz, this big motherfucker, oh, come here, give me that dick. Can you imagine? How do you molest a dude that big?
Without having the great Khali next to you.
Dude, that doesn't make sense. It's so stupid.
Yeah. And you know what? I think maybe Nailz was trying to find an easy way out to either leave the company or try to leave with money also.
Yeah, he wanted some money. He sued him for a lot. I don't remember the exact amount.
But the thing is,
he didn't get a dime.
But how the fuck are you gonna prove that Vince McMahon raped you or had sexually assaulted you?
Who's gonna believe that anyway?
Vince McMahon, he was happily married.
Where
he has a hot daughter.
Can you imagine Nailz in the courtroom? Now, show me on the doll where exactly Vince touched you. He's
he touched me right in there. It was injustice.
Who's the boss now? Vince McMahon.
Can you imagine the fucking prosecutor of that entire courts, that entire jury right there? The one man that comes out, it's like, all right, we find the defendant Vince McMahon not guilty. Boss man, take away Nailz. It's not you again. I was done with you. I thought you that were only storyline. This is bullshit.
It's funny because he went on trial during the sex scandal back then.
Who, Boss Man?
No, not Boss Man.
I was gonna say, what? Seriously?
No, Nailz went on trial, and it actually worked against him, and it worked against the whole sex trial in general, because he was so angry at Vince that was seen as bad for the prosecution, so that helped Vince get off on that. Lord Alfred Hayes is backstage with Tatanka, who's number 3 on our list of racist gimmicks.
No, but you know what? I accept this racist gimmick. You know why? Because he fucking pulled it off.
He did really good with it.
I've seen Tatanka.
I've met him before. He's a really nice guy.
He's a really nice guy.
He's a carny, but he's a nice guy.
He's a what?
He's a carny.
Oh, so the fuck what?
Yeah.
Who cares, man?
They all are.
Who cares, man? Speaking of carnies, we'll get into that later because of a Mr. Doink the Clown. May he rest in peace. But we'll talk about him later. And
that was weird. Yeah, we'll get to that.
That was really random, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, Tatanka I've seen in action, and I was there at the Royal Rumble 2006 when he made his return, when it was here in Miami. And he was one of the entrants in the Royal Rumble.
Didn't he team with Matt Hardy or something?
For a while, I think he may have. To kind of get his little comeback going on.
Who the fuck decided that? Oh, let's put him with Matt Hardy. That'll get him over.
Yeah, because Lord knows Matt Hardy wasn't going anywhere.
Apparently not.
Especially after his feud with Edge. I mean, come on. The man just lost his girlfriend to the radio superstar. Who the fuck else they can put him with? Tatanka. Why the fuck not? Let's go and put him with an Indian guy.
And now he's fat.
Oh, there was a few signs. I remember back in the day when I would go to those events, people actually would make a sign that said Fat Hardy.
Fat Hardy, exactly.
Not bad for him, because I mean, like, it was only his gut. Everything else, he was still pretty, like, muscular.
Yeah, he's not that fat.
He drank a little too much beer.
Tatanka vows to all of his people to take back his eagle feathers that Rick Martel stole from him. Basically just stole some feathers that are symbolic to him or whatever.
It's kind of the same thing as when Austin
Native
stole
Americans.
Kurt Angle's gold medals.
Pish posh.
And so and you see Tatanka starting, praying to his ancestors, his spirit.
Yeah, and he's like chanting.
He's like,
that's how it starts. It's like, really odd.
It was funny because I had turned my head away for a second because I was talking to my brother when I was watching the pay-per-view. And when I heard the I turned around, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I turned around and I'm like, oh shit, it's Tatanka. And it was just so funny. And he did the exact same thing when he came back at the Royal Rumble, and which he got a major pop from.
Yeah.
He went nuts when his little music came out.
Yeah.
It was
and
really
that's
cool.
how he ended the promo as well with that weird
with a yell.
Yeah. I can't even do it.
I can do it.
All right. Mean Gene interviews an odd-looking tag team, Ric Flair and Razor Ramon.
And Ric Flair even then looked old as shit.
Yeah. This is a very complicated feud, so if you don't mind, everybody sit down around the fire and I will tell you a tale. So, WrestleMania 8. Ric Flair loses the WWF Championship to the Macho Man.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, fast forward to SummerSlam 92. Macho Man is defending the belt against the Ultimate Warrior, and basically up to that point, Ric Flair and his number one man, Mr. Perfect, had been basically trolling Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man. Do you know this?
Vaguely. I mean, I remember watching promos of it back in the day, but I mean, go ahead and just say it for the episode's sake to give our fans some background, background history. Go for it.
They've been trolling Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, telling everybody that they were in cahoots with one of them, but it was obvious that they weren't because they were beating up both of them.
You're talking about Ric Flair and Chico Razor Ramon?
No. Razor Ramon isn't
he comes up later.
Razor Ramon debuts August 8th, 1992 on Superstars, beating some nameless jobber, and it wasn't until September 14th on an edition of Primetime Wrestling where Ramon helped Flair win back the WWF Championship from Randy Savage. So, the premise of the match, and it's supposed to be the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man versus Ric Flair and Razor Ramon, because Mr. Perfect can't really wrestle.
No, you know what? I'll give him credit. He was actually doing some technical shit in the ring, man.
Yeah.
When I was watching it. Like, he surprised me because, like you, I thought he was more of a brawler than anything else. The only thing technical about him was his finisher, the Perfect Flex. He surprised me. He had a couple of good snapmare takedowns in there and everything, and plus his little famous over-the-back kind of, I guess, forward snapmare. His little snap neck thing that he does. That was pretty cool. I was surprised because I hadn't seen that in a while, and now I see where John Cena takes it from.
Yeah, but, and they recap Perfect's babyface turn on Primetime Wrestling, and it was a great segment. I gotta splice that whole thing in because it's amazing.
You have to, dude.
Possibly this guy could be the perfect tag team partner for me to go against Razor Ramon and Ric Flair. A bunch of intelligent Confuciuses around the table there. Nobody's got nothing kicked in.
You don't mean... Who do you mean?
Read between the lines.
Oh, man. Do you mean that perfect tag team? Do you mean Randy Savage? Who do you mean? Spell it out. Come on.
Spell it out. It's Mr. Perfect. You.
I'm
pointing at you right now.
Perfect. I don't know.
I take orders from Flair. You're going to take orders from me and Flair. Flair wants you to walk behind him in his shadow. You do it and say, yes, sir. Keep your mouth shut. I'll do the same thing. He is not wrestling anybody. He is not getting in the ring and Survivor.
Something, Heenan. I am sick and tired of everybody making decisions for me. Savage, you want an answer? I'll give you an answer. I accept. As your I said I accept.
I'm talking. Don't you hear me? Whoa. Don't you hear me? I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you something right now. You don't put your hands on me. No, wait a minute. Survivor Series, I'm going to be in the corner of the Macho Man Randy Savage. I accept it, Savage. And Bobby Heenan, I'm going to tell you, you put your hands on the wrong person. You just got done putting your hands on Mr. Perfect. You don't touch Mr. Perfect. I know. You've been holding me back all these years. You've been putting me on the back burner. Ric Flair has been walking in my shadow. Ric Flair wants to fill my shoes.
Look what they've done to us. Look at they tore us apart. I didn't mean to hit you. God knows I'd never do that.
Hit me. Get your hands off of me.
I'll get down on my knees. I'll get down on one knee and tell you something. Please, we'll never do it again. I'll never do anything wrong. I promise you. I'll buy you a car. I'll get you a boat. I'll give you double the money you could have made. I'll get on both knees perfect. Please don't leave us.
What a
Please
terrible
don't do
excuse
that.
for a man.
Please don't do that. Please don't. No.
Take that. What do you think about that, Ric Flair? What do you think about this wet weasel? Macho Man Randy Savage, I'm back, and I'm back in the Survivor Series as your partner, believe it or not. How do you like that? How do you like that? I'm back.
It was such a great promo. Everyone did perfectly on it.
And I found it...
No pun intended.
That was a good one. I'll give you that. That was really good.
Yeah.
But no, and what kind of got me sucked into it was when Bobby Heenan actually slapped Mr. Perfect across the face.
Yeah, that's when it started. Yeah, that was really awesome.
That's when you knew babyface turn right there.
Yeah.
That's it. That is it. Because usually guys will tease at a babyface turn, but then last minute they'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll listen to you kind of thing. But no, that slap, that's it. Right there. He turned babyface right there at that moment.
But we'll get a little more into that match when it comes. But for right now, we have the model Rick Martel versus the undefeated Tatanka. The model comes out wearing a sailor hat and Tatanka's feathers. I thought he looked great. He looked like a great heel.
I don't think he looked like a fucking douchebag.
That's the point. He's
I know.
He's a fucking heel.
I know, but
it's like, great.
But it's like overly done. Like it's more than a freak. It's more than a genius.
Well, he does. Speaking of the genius, sort of, he does have the Damien Sandow pink tights.
You're right. I did not notice that.
Yeah, he does.
It's like Damien Sandow was Vince McMahon's like fusion of the genius and Rick Martel.
Yeah, that's actually kind of... I can see that.
It's like Vince McMahon put the Patari earrings on both the guys and they just fused together. Going old school Dragon Ball Z here if you guys don't get the reference.
33 minutes in, we get Heenan's second good joke of the night.
This is the most dangerous time of the year for Native Americans. Why's that? Do you want to walk around with feathers around Thanksgiving?
Tatanka controls early on, and Model recoups on the floor.
They start off at a good start, man. I'm sorry to interrupt, but dude...
No, go for it.
They start off at a fire pace. I was like, holy shit! Like, here comes Tatanka immediately just running and backing him up towards the turnbuckle and, just pounding his face in.
The dreaded atomic drop by Tatanka knocks Martel outside again. Heenan's on fire with the jokes. And he makes a Cleveland Indians joke. He's saying if he wants to be an Indian, he should join the Cleveland Indians because they don't win anything.
That was awesome. I'll give him that. That is such classic use of, Homeland team.
That's classic Heenan.
Classic Heenan.
Yeah, dude, classic Heenan's brain. Great. And Martel's selling was on point in this match. He was doing great.
I think it was more because of his age that he was able to do it a little more than anything else. Because Martel was probably like in his late 20s, maybe early 30s.
I don't know how old he is. Honestly, I'll take your word for it.
He could have been any more over 33. Couldn't have been. No way.
He looked great, too.
That's what I'm saying. He looked really good for his age, if he was pushing the age.
Yeah, even if he was on the roids.
Dumb roids. Dumb roids.
Martel gets the upper hand with a nasty-looking slingshot flapjack thing onto the ropes.
I missed those.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
They don't do it anymore. Like watching this pay-per-view, dude, they did it four times.
Yeah, they did it a lot in this pay-per-view. A lot.
Like, literally, when your opponent goes off the Irish whip and everything, they're coming towards you for like a clothesline, you just grab them and do like a flapjack, but instead you're carrying them.
Yeah.
And you're walking backwards as fast as you can, and you sling them on the rope.
Yeah, it looks brutal, too, especially when you do it right. Every time they did it on this pay-per-view, it looked great. We have a bunch of rest holds, which give the opportunity for Doink the Clown. Where the
fuck did he come in? I mean, like why? That's the thing I'm wondering, is why.
There was no point. The wrestlers don't acknowledge him. There's no storyline that goes with it. He just comes out and makes balloon animals.
But it was such a dick move, because, it got the audience's attention towards him a little more than the wrestlers.
That's why they were doing rest holds, for half the match, so Doink could do his little shtick outside. All he was doing was making balloon animals.
And laughing.
Yeah, he's doing the, ah!
Yeah, you heard it. He sounded like a really bad Joker.
Throws his hands up like this. He's like, ah!
It was just one of those what the fuck moments. Like, honestly, it was a moment that shouldn't have belonged, but it did. So,
yeah.
Can't do anything about it.
It was kind of cool seeing Doink. I know, this is early Doink. This is before the Crush thing. Remember when WrestleMania 9 with the fake arm and...
That was funny as shit. I remember that watching as a kid. I freaked out.
Tatanka finally breaks the series of rest holds and finally comes back with some chops, because that's what Indians do. They chop, 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 chop. And Martel goes shoulder first into the ring post.
Which gives Tatanka the upper hand advantage.
Yes. Some more overhand chops. Chop, 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 chop. But Tatanka's thrown over the top rope. I was really surprised Doink didn't get involved at this point. I thought for sure once he went over the top rope, Doink was going to do something, but he didn't.
Probably spraying with water or something like that.
At least something. It was like a fucking parallel universe or something, because Doink had his own thing, going on, and then there was the match, but they didn't go together at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is what pissed me off a little bit, because if you're going to do a segment, make it connect.
Yeah, it was really, really weird.
If you do something random, if you do something like that random, have Martel go in and just, go to Doink and, like pop one of his balloons, just to be funny. Like he goes to Doink the Clown while he's making a balloon animal, and he's about to give it to a kid, and freaking here goes Martel and grabs it and just pops it. Like, that part, like, if that happened, I would have laughed my ass off. That would have been funny.
And that would have been great, too, because then they could have started fighting or something, and it would have actually meant something. There would have been a reason for him to come out during that match. Exactly. You know what I mean? It was really weird. Tatanka ends up hulking up with a series of chops. Chop, 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 because that's what Indians do. He gets a body slam and a super chop off the top rope. He comes off the top.
Chops!
Exactly.
And
he hits a Samoan drop and gets the 3 and his feathers. Do you have anything else to add to this?
Good match, in my opinion. Very good match. It was probably like 10 minutes long, so I approve of that.
Yeah. A lot of rest holds, but at least they had the doink thing too.
Yeah.
Kind of still weird.
Away from it. Tatanka really good with his fluency. I love, for a big guy, he's able to move so good. And same with Martel. Honestly, he was able to keep up with Tatanka a little bit over there, especially with all the bumps he was taking, and just a good flow of technical moves, which I really appreciate. I love nothing more than a technical match. So, and then the way it ended, it fit. Like, it wasn't like a random ending.
Yeah.
Like that. It built up to it.
Yeah.
Tatanka, he's hulking up like you said. He's and
chop, 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 chop.
And then finishes it off with a huge off top rope chop, and then a big. Kind of confused me, Samoan drop for an Indian guy, but you know what? I'm not gonna get into that.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to add this earlier. Just a little tidbit: the Headshrinkers, they're from Samoa.
Yeah.
Headshrinkers aren't from Samoa.
I know.
They're from South America.
Exactly.
What the? If you're gonna do a racist gimmick, can you at least make it make sense? You know, like if you're gonna have a stereotype,
hey,
at least
Virgil's on pretty good.
Like, oh, those Indians, they're so good at math, or like, oh, damn Australians always crossing our borders. Like, no, fucking make it make sense.
Or like, damn Japanese, all they do is drink beer.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
It was pretty bad.
It doesn't make any sense.
It was pretty bad.
Sean Mooney in the quote-unquote locker room interviews Mr. Perfect and Randy Savage. Did you always notice that the locker room looked completely fake?
Of course it was, dude.
Yeah.
You're talking about the arenas back in the day when, like, basketball was relevant, obviously, but not to the point where it's like, okay, we're going to have the wrestling locker rooms in here, This is where the wrestlers come to undress and dress for their matches.
It looked so fucking... It's the same locker room every single arena they're in,
It's the same locker room I felt like when I was in high school. Everything was blue or white. It doesn't make a difference, but they were blue and white. But yeah. all the backstage locker rooms were so generic, dude. It wasn't even funny.
Yeah. Perfect overviews his face turn, and Macho tells Perfect he doesn't trust him, but also compliments him and tells him he thinks Perfect is a superior athlete, and together they can be the perfect team. Dig it.
A lot of people have criticized the Macho Man Randy Savage. They say I have sunk to the lowest depths to pick Mr. Perfect as a tag team partner. Now, just hold on 1 second. It's true. I don't like you, and I don't trust you, but I got a compliment coming your way. Nobody knows Razor Ramon and Ric Flair like you do. And another compliment is, I think you're a superior athlete. Yeah, even though we've never met in the ring, I think that you and me could be the perfect tag team. Now, what do you think about that?
I think you're right.
Ooh.
I think we can be the perfect tag team, hands down.
Dig it.
I can dig it.
This
Ric
way.
Flair, woo!
Folks, hold on for the action. Let's get out to ringside.
Oh, yeah, dig it. And
I thought it was a cool promo.
And even Mr. Perfect's like, yeah, I dig that. It's like, okay, dude.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty good promo.
It was a very good promo. I miss those Macho Man days.
And finally, we have Ric Flair and Razor Ramon versus Macho Man and
Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. I was going to say Ultimate Warrior there for a second, but
the thing is, I wish... I'm going to jump into here.
Go for it.
And it's my time for everybody to gather around the table and get their food ready, because story time for this shit. Basically, what happened was the Ultimate Warrior, he, like I said earlier, he was advertised to be Macho Man Randy Savage's partner against Ric Flair and Razor Ramon as part of the Macho Maniacs. I think it was their stable.
The Ultimate Maniacs.
The Ultimate Maniacs. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. The Ultimate Maniacs. Days prior, I'm not talking about weeks. I'm talking about days prior to SummerSlam, what happened was there were two theories of what happened between the Ultimate Warrior and why he missed the show. There was one where it says he was accused of steroid allegations, which were obviously true.
Big surprise there.
I mean, why else do you think he wears those straps across his arms? But
you could see the fucking needle popping out of his ass. Jesus.
The needle pop out of his ass.
Yeah.
That's great. But yeah, there was that allegation, which obviously WWF still had back in the day, a steroid, punishment. And they had a rule against people using drugs. Obviously, if that were the case, Ultimate Warrior would have been suspended for X amount of days. Or by this point in '92, he would have straight up fired.
Yeah, because
he'd been suspended more times than Jeff Hardy.
They had the steroid trial going on.
They did
too. It was looming. Yeah,
exactly. And so even after that, then the second theory was what happened was Vince McMahon was going to change the Ultimate Warrior's character and have him become, I guess, a heel or something like that, or have him become a completely different person. And Warrior himself. His name was Jim Hellwig, but for all you that don't know, but he actually did get his name legally changed to Warrior.
Yeah, and fucking retard.
I still admire the man, though. And so what happened was, apparently, if that were the case, Warrior found out somehow, didn't like it, told Vince, look, you changed my character, fuck you, I'm walking out. And that's basically what happened, because this is around the time when Warrior even stepped out, went head on over to WCW.
No, he didn't go to WCW until '97.
Was it?
Yeah, he didn't go to '97.
Right, he had a couple more stints in Raw before.
Yeah,
when Raw came out.
He went back. Well, he went back in '96, and then he jobbed out Triple H at WrestleMania 12.
He jobbed out Triple H, but before that, one of his last runs before that was his big comeback involved him. I don't know if you ever watched his documentary.
But, no, I actually haven't watched that.
No, it's really good. You should watch it. The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, it's really good. But what happened was one of his first returns on Monday Night Raw with actually Jerry King Lawler. Here comes Warrior running down the freaking ramp with a baseball hat on.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that. And even Lawler admitted he was so thrown off that he didn't know how to react. Like, all the facial expressions that he gave during that segment were legitimate. Because he had no idea what the fuck to say or what to do. Because he was just like, this is Ultimate Warrior wearing a hat. Like, that does not happen. That'd be like, I don't know if I can come up with a good analogy to that. That's just, it's unbelievable.
That would be like Undertaker wearing short shorts.
You've done it now.
Who wears short shorts?
I wear short shorts.
Rest in shorts.
Enough jokes aside, he came in wearing a baseball cap, and he was supposed to have a storyline with Jerry King Lawler, which failed miserably.
Yeah,
much to McMahon's dismay. I say that quote unquote. And then that's when he went to WCW after WrestleMania 12, and he jobbed over Triple H when he was still known as Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah.
And anyway, back to the point, we had those two theories where he was either involved in steroid allegations or he found that his character was being changed and basically said F you to Vince McMahon's face and walked out. And that left McMahon no choice but to come up with a last-minute storyline to throw in.
Yep.
Since they had built it up so much on the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man, he had to come up with a different thing. So here comes Mr. Perfect to save the day.
Yeah, they just turned him face.
Which is good. It was about time.
Yeah, it worked. It definitely worked. It was a good alternative, I guess.
It was.
We can add to the counter for racist gimmicks with Razor Ramon being a stereotypical Hispanic guy.
Oh my God! Please, Chico. Oh, hey,
yeah.
You know that man? Like that dude. Honestly, he
drug cartel kind of.
No, he was the perfect symbol of the stereotypical Puerto Ricans in New York.
Really?
If you look at the demographics of New York, you'll notice most of their Hispanic population is Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, I know that.
And New Yorkers, they have their "hey man" kind of accent. You know, the "hey man, what you doing with my pizza" kind of thing.
Yeah.
They threw that in with Razor Ramon's Latin American background, and they made the bad guy.
Yeah, it was all off Scarface too.
It was pretty funny.
So
I love Razor Ramon though. I have to give him credit. He was a great heel.
I love Razor Ramon. He was great for someone who just debuted. You know, he did work in the AWA. I think it was a little bit prior to this.
You're right, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he came over to WWF and he looked great.
He did.
He was thrown straight into this, you know, with Flair and Macho. I mean, that's a pretty big push. Flair and Ramon come out, and then Macho Man comes out first, and then he introduces Perfect, and we get the cool run the camera up the aisle really quickly, and then back up once Perfect comes out. I thought that looked really cool. It made the match feel really cool, and it made the Perfect's return seem like a big deal.
Like the transformation to a babyface. But the thing is, and he even teased a little kind of a back to heel turn in the middle of the match.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We'll get to that later, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It had a great big match feel. Like I said, Heenan was losing his fucking mind this whole match on commentary.
He was jizzing like all over the place throughout the entire match. Like seriously, he kept screaming, he kept hollering, "That's not fair! Look at my guys go!
It's not fair to Flair." Perfect and Razor start things off and go back and forth with Perfect getting the upper hand early on. Then Flair tags in after Perfect chops him on the apron, and Flair sells for a while until Macho is tagged in. Then Flair sells for Macho a little bit, but the heels get the upper hand after Razor gets the knee in Macho's back while on the apron. So Macho was kind of thrown into the corner, and then Razor got his knee up, and that started the whole working over the face thing.
Didn't you find it a little weird I'm sorry to say this, but didn't you find it a little weird of Macho Man to be wearing a shirt during a wrestling match?
No, he always wore a shirt. I mean, after...
Well, I guess after his days with Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, he'd been wearing a shirt for a while at this point, and he would continue to wear a shirt for the rest of his career. Yeah,
because the thing is, to me, I was like, he's still in good shape. He shouldn't have to, you know, go around.
He was getting a little old. He wasn't that old, but
he was balding like a hell.
Yeah, Ramon gets an abdominal stretch on Macho and getting the crowd behind Macho, and then Macho hip tosses out of it, but Savage misses an elbow drop, and the momentum shifts right back to the heels. Ramon throws Macho Man into the steps and then back into the ring where Flair gets more heat on Macho. And then Perfect just teases leaving.
Yeah, he teased a back to heel turn.
Yeah.
And he just stepped off the ropes, and he just kind of started walking back towards the entrance. And obviously fans are paying more attention to him than what's actually going on in the match.
Yeah.
And they're jeering him, and they're basically, I saw a couple guys give him the finger, honestly.
Really?
In the crowd, if you look, yeah.
I didn't notice that.
I saw it. And obviously, it wasn't going to happen. Wouldn't allow it to happen. And probably about a minute of him teasing that shit, he said, all right, I'm going back to the ring. Yeah. Walks back down, crowd gets right back behind him again. They're like, yeah, he's back, Mr. Perfect. And everybody gets rallied behind him. And it's not till a few minutes later, after Macho's still being put over by the heels, that he actually gets the tag in. And here comes Mr. Perfect, fired up, ready to go. He's sitting there clotheslining. He's punching and punching and punching more than he should. And he goes, and obviously first thing he does is deliver drop kicks.
Yeah.
Which surprisingly, I was surprised. He can pull them off pretty good for a guy his he was really stocky.
Yeah,
he's a really stocky guy. He's not so lengthy. So for him to pull off a drop kick is pretty impressive. And,
he's perfect though.
And yeah, so it kept on going a little more and more. Mr. Perfect's there putting over Ramon, and he slams to the ground, does his little trademark over the back snapmare, where he has Ramon sitting down on his legs, and he jumps over him from behind and snaps his neck forward. And the crowd's getting behind it. Crowd's getting really jeered up. And then it's not too long until Flair and Ramon take it back to their side again with against Perfect. And it kept going to the point where Flair goes up to the top rope, going for his little trademark,
of course,
trademark crossbody.
He's hit maybe once in his career.
He was, and I was there when it happened. And lo and behold, obviously he gets thrown off top rope at a very good distance too.
Yeah,
they threw him like more than 80% of the ring. They cleared him good, and he took it like a pro. And he landed pretty good. Hand turns back into the to the baby faces of the match.
Did you notice when Flair came in right after the hot tag, he puts his hands up and he goes like, "I'm gonna get ya."
yeah. Not even a hot tag. Towards the end of the match, he's kind of walking up behind. I think it was Perfect. Yeah, it was Perfect because Perfect had just landed the perfect plex on Razor Ramon, and the refs weren't around, which I will get to later about the referees. I will get into that later. Yeah. But Perfect hits perfect plex against Razor Ramon. Crowd's going like 1, 2, and
he gets the visionary fall.
You even hear McMahon saying, "That's a count of 9."
Yeah,
and didn't work out. Here comes Flair to break it up, and Perfect's back to beating him up against the turnbuckle. And Flair does the worst, like, double axe handle I've ever seen in my life. He puts his hands up in the air, kind of like clawed, not really like, so much together for a double axe, but like it was clawed, and he comes down against Perfect's back, and Perfect just sells it horribly. It was a really bad sell for such a really bad attempt to turn the tides.
Yeah, Flair and Macho were on the outside, and Flair hits Savage with probably the softest chair shot I've ever seen. But Macho sells it like it was a fucking spiked baseball bat. Did you notice that on the outside?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, they hit it. He literally like
went,
that,
like
and then Macho
really
like
hard.
jumped in the air. He's like, "Oh God!" Did you notice that the footage like cut?
Yes, actually I did.
I don't know if that was just the file I had or that was the actual
like
Silver
it blacked
Vision.
out for a bit.
Yeah, it just cuts. Like
It
they're
blacked out.
they're doing like an Irish whip, and then it cuts to like later in the match.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know
noticed
what
that.
happened. And we missed a ref bump too. There's a ref bump in the middle of
the thing is, I was wondering why the fuck is there a second ref coming in? But then I saw that the freaking Earl Hebner, of course, is dead again. And then it goes on to. But the thing is, dude, the end of the match, there were 3 referees by the end of the match.
Yeah,
There were
it was
3
weird.
referees in that tag team match. Like, what the shit is going on here? Like, usually you see something like that happen when it's like an Iron Man match or something like that that's going on. But for a tag team match, that's basically become a tornado tag match. They had 3 referees in there. It ended in a really weird way, but it kind of fit at the same time. It was hard for me to explain or how to interpret it when I watched it go down.
Yeah, a Razor's Edge attempt is backfired, and then the footage cuts again, and Perfect just gets a visionary fall after a perfect plex. The ref finally comes in, but Flair breaks it up. Then perfect plex on Flair, and then Razor distracts the ref, but the other ref comes in and counts the fall, and Razor's like, fuck that, and he just like kicks him in the face. And then the match at that point is like
chaos.
Yeah, and well, it looked like it was thrown out because one of the refs just signals for the bell.
Yeah.
I think it was Earl Hebner. And it turns out it was actually DQ win for Savage and Mr. Perfect. But it looked like the match was just being thrown out. Like, it was not clear at all what happened.
Do you think there's supposed to be actually like a winner, like by pinfall?
No, I think a DQ finish was good here. Like, if they pinned Flair shouldn't really be being pinned because he's Flair.
Especially someone like by Perfect. Even Macho Man still pushing it.
Ramon, he's a guy that you're trying to put over, so he wouldn't be good to
have lose in his first pay-per-view.
But at the same time, you didn't want Macho and Perfect to lose after all of that. You didn't want them to lose clean after all that build. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It would be kind of pointless. So I think a DQ finish worked here. It's just the way they pulled it off. It was really awkward because it didn't. It was just all of a sudden it wasn't clear why the DQ was made. It was just because like there were 2 people in the ring for a while and then they called for the bell. It was really weird.
That's what I was confused about. Like it didn't I it took me a while to realize. Oh shit! They actually like run the bell. And then because then they said, oh, your winners by disqualification. Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, me too. I was like,
it took me a while to actually kind of comprehend what the fuck just happened.
Yeah, it was really weird. Then we have some aftermath where Flair puts a figure 4. I think it was on Macho.
It was on Macho.
Yeah, and then Perfect gets a chair.
And kind of just...
He actually did some better chair shots this time to the back. And then we get like the 5th interview of the night for this match with Flair and Razor. And I didn't understand a word they said.
Post-match, yeah.
Did you understand anything?
Flair. The hell are you going to understand from him? It's Ric Flair.
He's just rambling.
He's saying, it's not over! There's no way it's over! Woo! And he's sitting there, he's being Flair. And he's like, Aaron's Limousine Run! Jeff Flying! Woo! All of his...
Yeah.
But this time I was angry. That's the only difference. He's like basically saying, like, Mr. Perfect! Who the hell is Mr. Perfect? And everything. And he's just going nuts. And Ramon's there just kind of
he's like
doing
speaks,
this, like, look.
He like speaks Spanish.
Yeah,
he says something. I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he said. Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji versus Virgil. Add to the counter. This is what, number 5, number 6?
Of racism?
Of racist
implied?
gimmicks?
Like, for both of them.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe Virgil could be a... Well, yeah, Virgil is kind of a racist thing, too, because he was like a black slave lackey. So what is that, like 6 or 7 now? Jesus Christ. There are geisha girls in the ring, and then it cuts to a pre-conducted interview where Lord Alfred Hayes interviews Yokozuna, who's being massaged by the girls. And I thought that was cool. And Fuji was like, "Oh no, you come here, massage him, massage Lord Alfred Hayes," and they like take his jacket off. It was hilarious.
Oh, Mr. Fuji. Excuse me, Mr. Fuji. I'd like to get a few words with Yokozuna for his up. Oh, I can say I've come at the wrong time here. I'll come back.
Oh, no, Your Lordship. As you can see, millions and millions of fans to Coliseum Video is watching you. These girls, I flew them all the way from Tokyo, Japan. These are my geisha girls. They specialize in massaging Yokozuna, as you can see.
Hey, that's very nice. I'll leave. I'll leave.
Why do you want to leave?
What?
Perhaps you would like to have my geisha girl give you a massage?
Oh, no.
Come on, be my guest.
Well,
Hayako.
I really couldn't do this.
No, take a jacket. And a girl. Oh, massage neck. Massage.
That's nice.
You like it?
Yes, that's very nice.
That's it. Out.
Is that all there is?
Massage his hands.
I was beginning to like that.
Lot of energy. Strength.
Well, this is rather disconcerting. I think we better go back to the action now.
Very good.
What a kiss ass.
And then Lord Alfred gets a stiffy, and
he gets a He's like, you're gonna give me a massage from all these hot women?
Yeah.
Stop! I'm getting a chubby.
Mr. Carney himself, Virgil, comes out with his stripes and everything.
Yeah,
Lonely
this
Virgil,
classic, purple and white.
This is just a squash match. There's a great sidearm suplex on Virgil and an almost botched side suplex. He barely gets him up. He hits a nice leg drop. It looks awesome on Virgil. There's a cool spot. Virgil goes for a roll-up, and then Yokozuna just sits on him. Like, instead of going back to his back going for the roll-up, he just falls on him. I've never seen that before. I thought that looked really, really fucking awesome.
But it implies more to the point that Yokozuna is a huge guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that added more to it. And the fact that, here comes Virgil trying to go for the roll-up, and yeah, like you said, he's just falling her back, and he gets the advantage for the pin. But Yokozuna just...
Yeah, and then we get a bonsai drop to end the match. A really good-looking bonsai. And then we get another brain scan with more Thanksgiving humor. He likens Yokozuna's leg to a turkey leg, which is kind of cool. It was really cool. It was like
it was cool.
It was like the
Bobby.
Yeah, it was like the football, like in football when they draw on the screen with the pens and stuff. Sean Mooney interviews Macho Man and Mr. Perfect again. Jesus, I don't understand. Like, they did this for the Nailz Boss Man match where they interviewed Boss Man twice, and now they've interviewed both of these teams twice.
Did the same thing with freaking Razor Ramon and Ric Flair.
And then, but this was a cool promo though. It was so worth it. Perfect takes out 2 turkeys.
Yeah,
and he's like, "These are for you." And then he goes, "I got something for you too, Bobby Heenan."
I didn't forget about you, Bobby. I got you a little chicken, because that's what I think of you. Little chicken.
He takes out a he literally has like big turkeys, like Thanksgiving turkeys. And he takes out
raw.
Yeah, and he takes out a little chicken, like an actual chicken, like
and
a raw.
He's dangling it right there.
Yeah,
and freaking Macho Man. I mean, I could tell from his face he was trying not to laugh.
Yeah, fucking awesome.
It was a good little post-match promo.
And then we have our only Survivor Series elimination match of the night. It's
4-on-4, might I add. 4-on-4, not 5-on-5, 4-on-4.
And it's got weird rules because it's all tag teams, and when one person of the tag team is eliminated, the whole team is eliminated. And they didn't explain that either. But it's the Beverly Brothers and the WWF Tag Team Champions, Money Inc., Ted DiBiase, and IRS, who are with the Genius and Jimmy Hart, and I'm sad we didn't get a Genius promo. Versus the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon, and the Nasty Boys.
Oh, Balls Mahoney and freaking Sag.
Balls Mahoney?
Why am I thinking Balls Mahoney?
That's not Balls Mahoney.
ECW.
Yeah, that's not Balls Mahoney.
Wow, what?
It's Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags.
There we go. Brian Knobbs. We're gonna cut that out.
Jeez. No, I'm leaving that in.
No, fuck you. Take that out. Fuck you. Take that out. I will punch you in the face if you leave that in there.
Typhoon and Blake Beverly start off. The Natural Disaster squash the Beverlys quite literally in the corner, where they get the Beverlys in the corner. I think Typhoon was squashing them, and while Earthquake ran up and did like a nice little squisher. We get
squishy.
We get an awesome Rikishi bump off a clothesline. Blake Beverly does the little twisty thing off the clothesline, does like a backflip and shit. It actually looks pretty good.
Talking about when Brock Lesnar clotheslined poor Rikishi.
Rikishi, for a big dude, he always did that shit. We talk about Rikishi a lot on this podcast.
It's Uncle Keith. He's the man that ran down Stone Cold Steve Austin in an empty parking lot.
Why does that always come up?
You gotta put a little ass on
it. We had to get a great double underhook suplex to Sags by one of the Beverlys. I don't fucking know which one it was. Beau. But he did that pretty well. Jerry Sags gets worked over for a lot of the early part of the match, and he's
for like 7 minutes.
And he's very clearly blown up.
Yeah,
he's so out of shape. There's supposed to be a point where he's like on fire and stuff. He's literally just standing there like, oh, come on, guys, can you come over here, please? Just let me clothesline you. Just come over here, run up to me. I don't want to move. He's so blown up.
It was like watching like a stack of potatoes wrestle.
That would be Bob Holly.
Excuse me for wanting to break your neck.
The Beverlys go for their world's greatest tag team like slingshot thing over the ropes, their special move, you know, and they fuck it up really bad, and they end up just punching them. Beau, or is it Blake, and Sags bump into each other, allowing the hot tag to Earthquake, and Quake cleans house, but very quickly we get a schmoz, and everyone just goes into the ring, everyone's fighting.
Of course. It's when all hell breaks. It's a classic Jericho, and all hell is breaking loose.
And finally, this match gets interesting a little bit.
After like 8 minutes of pure boring.
Yeah, it was
freaking Sags just getting his ass whipped left and right.
Typhoon reverses a crucifix into a Samoan drop, which looks really cool.
It was.
One of the Beverlys went for a crucifix pin, but he catches him. Sorry, I'm burping. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. After the crucifix, Quake finishes the job with his finisher, the little jump around the ring.
It's called Earthquake.
That's what it's called?
It's called the Earthquake.
How did I not know that?
It's Earthquake's the Earthquake. If you ever played any of the SmackDown vs. Raw games, that was his finisher. It's just called Earthquake.
Oh, well, yeah, he
just stomps around on the floor around his opponent while he's laying flat on the ground, runs to one side of the apron, runs to the other side of the apron, and just basically just drops him on him.
Yeah, and he eliminates one of the Beverlys, but that means both of them are out. So it's basically 2-on-4 at this point. It's
DiBiase and buddy's name?
IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I apologize, people. I'm a little stuffy. I have a cough.
Schyster.
I'm gonna go down some NyQuil after this.
He's gonna get really fucked up.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Now I can say this: lots of quick tags to work over DiBiase, but Quake misses a splash. Misses a splash. Jesus Christ! In the corner, and a double back body drop to Quake, or a double back suplex. I think it was. The IRS and DiBiase get Quake up for a suplex, and it looked like they were struggling a little bit because Quake is a big boy.
Quake is a monster.
He is, and he works well as a face. It's surprising because you would think he looks like a heel, and he did work as a heel for a while. Remember, he had that run with Hogan.
He first debuted.
Yeah, and he had a program with Hogan. But he works really well as a face. Like I don't know how, but he's just he does it, man. Money Inc. repeat the formula and work over Quake until a hot tag to old tugger Typhoon.
Tugger.
There's a big splash to IRS, but DiBiase breaks up the pin, and then IRS rolls up Typhoon
after an elbow.
Yeah,
after one elbow.
He rolls him up and gets the 3. And then immediately Sags rolls up IRS. And 1, 2, 3, match is over. Yep. Nasty Boys get the win. They're the sole survivors. Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
With all the guys in this match, maybe not the Beverlys, but
definitely not. But
the other
boys.
But you would think, tag team champions, Money Inc. I mean, you probably wanted the faces to go over because this was kind of like just like a filler match. Like a get a beer and take a shit match.
It didn't feel like a Survivor Series match.
No, it was bullshit. It was just... They probably just made the card and they were like, it's Survivor Series. We don't have an elimination match. Let's just throw them in.
Maybe it's because we're so used to our type of Survivor Series matches, like of our generation.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, I'm saying.
We don't even have real Survivor Series matches anymore.
Not anymore. Not until 2006.
It's sad, man. I miss them.
Yeah, those were really good, man. Remember back in 2004 Survivor Series when it was Evolution and Edge and Gene Snitsky versus Team Orton? Remember that shit?
I don't remember that match.
Oh, man. That was the debut of Edge's On This Day music. And then,
really?
Yeah, and it was Gene Snitsky. Remember that guy? Remember Gene Snitsky? It wasn't
his
my fault. Kill the damn baby.
And he punted the fucking baby.
That was fucking hilarious.
And he raped Michael Cole. You remember that?
Yeah, he raped Michael Cole.
And his whole thing with Heidenreich.
Heidenreich.
You remember that?
That was a cool little rivalry. Crazy against crazy. I thought that was pretty funny.
No, they had it was when Heidenreich was doing the casket match with Undertaker, and he was like, I hate caskets.
Yeah.
But I like you, Gene. I like you too, John. It's like,
I hear you don't like caskets. Like? I don't like caskets. I hate them. I know you hate caskets. I don't like them either. But I do like you, John.
after that match, we get a post-match interview with Virgil, and I just have to splice this in right here.
Who's sitting there going like, geez, Louise, and stuff like that.
No. He goes,
This Yokozuna, whatever Fuji brought from the Far East, this man is a menace. He's dangerous, man.
This Yokozuna, man. This guy is dangerous. Up next, we have the first ever coffin match. It's The Undertaker versus Kamala with Harvey Wippleman and Chee.
Chee. Well, hey, don't forget, Undertaker comes out with who else but
Paul Bear. That's right.
Oh,
yeah. And we had Paul Bear's doppelganger in the front row too.
As always, he was always being camera. He was always being cameraed. I remember that happened at least like 3 more times.
Yeah. We can add to the counter again. Kamala.
You think so?
Racist
really?
gimmick.
You think so?
Are you kidding me, dude? Kamala's the most racist gimmick they've probably ever done in their entire life.
Besides primetime players?
Dude, that's not really that racist.
Are you kidding me?
It's not a stereotype, though. Well,
do you not see the way they act? Come on!
No, okay,
that's what makes them so awesome.
Yeah, but like
that
Kamala, how do you? No, Kamala is probably like the most hateful, like fucking. It's how can you say Kamala is not racist?
I think
it's making fun of an entire continent. He was billed as from the dark continent of Africa. Yo, come on. And Chee, he has to have a handler. Like, really, dude? You know who played Chee?
Who?
Steve Lombardi, Brooklyn Brawler.
What?
Yep.
You mean Brooklyn Brawler?
Yep.
Really?
Chee. Yeah.
I did not notice that at all.
And it's funny, there's a dark match at the beginning of the show where Brooklyn Brawler was defeated by Crush. So Brooklyn Brawler getting paid twice tonight. Yeah.
You know what? I would take a loss.
Yo.
In order to do that, dude, I would honestly let someone just, you know what? I'm getting paid tonight. Crush, beat the shit out of me, alright? Just go and do it. Make a show for the crowd. I'm walking home with 2 checks tonight. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
That's pretty awesome.
Isn't that? Yeah.
Like, that's tops. That's awesome.
Yeah. We get an awesome recap, too, before the match starts.
Yeah.
Where they show Kamala beating up Undertaker at SummerSlam, and then Undertaker in his little parlor creating the casket.
That was really cool. And the fact that freaking Paul Bearer...
Sorry.
The fact...
God damn.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay tuned.
Ugh.
You picked the worst day to be sick, bro.
Oh, sorry.
You picked the very worst time to be sick. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna drink a bunch of orange juice, because fuck you, that's why.
Go on. Just go. I'm leaving this in. Fuck it. Go. Go.
Anyway, backstage, they went into a little parlor thing where Taker's creating the casket. Here comes Paul Bearer breaking out like a blueprint of what the casket's supposed to look like, and it has like a very like sanctimonious like picture of Kamala drawn on it. I was like, yo, like what 10-year-old drew that? Like it was just too funny to let go.
Yeah, Kamala, his selling of being afraid of the casket, it's amazing. It's probably some of the best selling I've ever seen. It's so over the top and campy, but it's great. Like he's just like his eyes go all buggy, and he would like shake and he would run through the crowd away like before Survivor Series, Paul Bear would always come to the ring during Kamala's matches with a casket.
Yeah.
And Kamala would see it and he would run away. I always thought that was really cool. But basically, the real feud here is Undertaker versus Harvey Wippleman. It's not really Kamala.
Kamala's is more of the pawn.
Yeah, because Harvey Wippleman is really the one who's trying to get rid of the Undertaker for whatever reason.
It's the Undertaker. Why wouldn't you want to get rid of him?
Yeah. The match starts off, Kamala threatens Undy by raising his hand like he's like, I'm gonna hit you. He's like, I'm gonna hit you. And Undertaker's like, fuck you.
You want me to slap you? I will slap you.
I will slap you so hard. That's basically what he's doing. He's got his it's not even in a fist. He like holds his palm wide open. He's like, I'm gonna slap you, Philly. You son of a bitch. I'm gonna slap you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian, but beef burritos too delicious. Oh, cotton fish about to come out of my asshole.
No one's gonna know what we're talking about.
I know. Well, maybe South Park fans will get it. But it's just so perfect. He's like, oh.
We get a. You alright?
I just think it's so funny. Oh my God, keep talking.
We get an elementary school by The Undertaker, as this is basically a glorified squash match. The match spills outside and Kamala works over Undertaker with a chair shot to the back. And I thought that was really cool that they were doing chair shots, because that was kind of rare back then. This is the second time tonight that we've seen a chair.
That's good, though, because this is when they started implementing them.
Kamala splashes The Undertaker a few times, and it's sold like death. You know, classic Undertaker selling, where he's just flat, arms to his side, laying down, splashes him. And then Paul Bear gets up to the apron, tries to revive The Undertaker, but he's tripped by Chee, and the urn flies into the ring. And I thought this was really cool, because Kamala's selling it like, holy shit, get that the fuck away from me. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that adds to the racist thing, too.
He's scared of the entity of... That's inside. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's a little racist. I mean, come on.
Like, a little racist.
Spiritually talking here. And, yeah, Kamala's freaking his shit out. Basically saying, you know, get that away from me, get that away from me. And it was a really good sell. And even after the match was the best sell of the entire thing. But,
yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So basically, Kamala kicks the urn to Chee, and Chee's scared to death of the urn, too. Ultimately, Paul Bear gets the urn back. Undertaker gets up and he clocks Kamala with the urn, and then he pins Kamala,
which is really weird because then it's a casket match.
Yeah, exactly. He pins the Kamala, and then the bell rings. Everyone's kind of confused.
The bell rings twice. The bell rings after he pins him, and then when he puts him in the casket.
Yeah, it was really, really weird. And it's like, because I guess it was because the first casket match, nobody really knew what was going on.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, so that was weird. And then he puts him in the huge fucking casket, and he nails it shut.
And that just sells more the idea that this guy is the Undertaker.
It was ridiculous. Like, other casket matches, they just close the lid and that's it.
Yeah.
This motherfucker was nailed. Like, he took actual, like, 3-inch nails and hammered them in one by one.
I would be surprised if Kamala got stabbed with one of those.
Well, it was on the edge, so. Yeah, it just went through the wood and fucking... Oh, shit. So basically, Paul Bear takes him back and puts the urn on top of the casket. It was a really cool visual, and that's it. Undertaker wins the first casket match. What a surprise.
Go figure, right?
Shawn Michaels' interview with Sean Mooney in the back.
Intercontinental Champion.
Yes. And Shawn, I really liked his logic here. He basically cuts a promo saying that Bulldog beat Bret for the IC title at SummerSlam, and then Shawn beat the Bulldog.
So who does that come out as top as?
Exactly. That's actually really cool. And
it was.
There wasn't a lot of build to this match, and the actual story goes, I don't know if you know this, that at SummerSlam, originally they were going to have it in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
But the U.S. numbers weren't doing so well, so they decided to go over to England, and they had it at Wembley Stadium. And once they found out that they were having it in England, Bret decided to go to Vince and say, hey, let me drop the belt to Bulldog instead, since it's in his home country, it'll get a great pop and everything. And then Bulldog can just drop the belt to Shawn later.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
It makes sense.
So here you go. Here's the original match that was supposed to take place. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. even though the IC title is not on the line. But before the match starts, we get a little Coliseum Video Home exclusive where Kamala is being broken out of the casket.
That is the one I was talking about where he sold it so beautifully.
It was so great.
That was one of the best sells I've ever seen in my entire life of being a wrestling fan.
I wish we had a visual. You know, I know this is just an audio podcast, but like you have to see it. It's really, really cool. It's really over the top, but it's really, really just awesome.
Definitely. And what happens is they have a crane. They're
a crowbar,
excuse me, yeah. And they're opening up the casket, and when they open up the casket, you just see Kamala's face, and he's just shaking.
Yeah, he's like
you're just seeing death in the face.
Yeah,
he's not speaking nothing. His eyes are bugged out. He's just quivering.
He's literally quivering. Yeah,
it's so beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Main event time. WWF Championship on the line. It's the Intercontinental Champion not being defended, Shawn Michaels, versus the WWF Champion, Bret Hart. 5 years before Bret Hart is being screwed.
Well, don't forget, Bret screwed Bret.
Uh-oh, yeah. Well,
oh, well, shit. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you got a point there. Shawn comes out, and then Bret cuts a promo before Bret comes out, and he puts over Thanksgiving.
Classic John Cena.
He basically says he's thankful for being the WWF champ. What a babyface. But this was a very good promo.
It was.
I think it was probably one of the best Bret promos I've ever seen. I never seen it until I watched this.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen this match or this promo or anything.
They have compilations of Bret Hart's promos.
Well, I'm sure they do. You can just go on YouTube and find it. I've never seen this promo, though, and I thought it was really, really good, actually.
He did it perfectly.
Because normally, really Bret kind of sucks on the mic, you know?
Other than that, I'll give it to him because he does have emotion when he talks. Especially when he's,
Yeah, he sounds real. He sounds like a legitimate, athlete who's just trying to defend his title,
And not even that, just, remember back after the screw job, he cut that huge promo afterwards, and he says, I'm sick of this shit.
Well, no, that was in February of '97 after he got screwed out of the Royal Rumble. That wasn't the...
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. After the screw job,
what you're talking about.
He started becoming that kind of guy. He became, I guess, their CM Punk, where he's just voicing his grievances. He literally says, fuck you, America, fuck this, I'm going back to Canada.
He was being a baby, yeah. Not a baby face, a baby.
Being a baby.
Bret Hart comes out, and he has the best pop of the night when he comes out. Everyone loves Bret.
That didn't last long.
The match is slow to start. We have some great mat wrestling.
We really do. I was surprised at Shawn Michaels for his ability to be able to keep up with Bret's technical background.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Well, yeah, and you didn't expect a lot from Shawn because Shawn wasn't really... This was his first big singles push. He had just broken up. He had just broken up with the Rockers in the beginning of this year.
Yeah, because
in January '92.
After that was when he started. After he won the Intercontinental Championship, he started getting that whole confidence to himself that you see with the HBK that you still see nowadays, where he thinks he's basically the shit.
Yeah,
I think it was after this time when he started teaming up with Diesel because he
didn't start teaming with Diesel until late '93, I want to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, late '93 because
Survivor Series is '92.
Yeah, and when is Survivor Series? It's in November.
Yeah, it wasn't until mid or late '93 that he started with Diesel.
Because remember, not even then. Remember he at WrestleMania 10, first ladder match ever. Was Razor Ramon,
and that was '94.
Yeah, so it didn't happen until a few years after that. But this is when he started building up his whole Heartbreak Kid kind of personality, and then his original song, dude, just some sensational Sherry.
Yeah, we get the original. Shawn. Yeah. The Sherry version of his
he's like, I'm
sexy
just
boy.
A sexy boy. And it's just like, damn it, Shawn.
We get a hammerlock by Shawn Michaels, but it's reversed by Bret, and he throws him out between the middle and the top rope, and then Shawn is thrown back in hard way, but then we go back to the armbar, and there's kind of a formula in this match where they work over each other's arms for a while. There's a lot of rest spots toward the beginning and the middle of this match. I was kind of disenchanted at first because... I was expecting a lot. I was expecting this to be a great match, but
no, you couldn't get that kind of a great match immediately, dude.
For the first 10-15 minutes, it was really slow. There's a lot of rest spots. It felt to me that Shawn should have had the upper hand against Bret, but it was more Shawn working over Bret at first. Bret working over Shawn first.
They wanted to make Shawn look a little pathetic, I guess, for him talking so much crap. during his promo, and then to kind of have Bret be the guy that shuts him up, kind of thing.
Yeah, and Bret, they were trying to get him as like a fighting champion.
Well, because remember, even Bobby and Vince McMahon were saying that no one has defended the WWF title like during that time as much as Bret Hart did.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were making him like the workhorse as a champion.
Yeah, they really were. Bret goes shoulder first into the post, and finally Shawn begins to get the upper hand, and then he goes sternum first into the buckle, and then Shawn works over Bret with more rest holds. Looking great. Bret, a bunch of times, it looks like he's going to come back, but just nothing happens. It goes right back to a rest hold. But finally, Bret comes back with a boot to the face out of the corner, and then gets a bulldog, and but he misses the elbow from the second rope.
Yeah.
And
hands back to Shawn Michaels.
Yep. And Bret finally gets his heat back as we get some awesome near falls and a huge back body drop, elbow off the second rope, and a superplex. And all those had near falls. And I thought this is where the match really started to get picked up. And Heenan and Vince are really awesome on commentary in this match.
They were really good back in the day, man.
They were a really good team.
Because the thing with Vince is he screamed into the mic, where Bobby Heenan was more of the like the jackass kind of guy.
He was always with the heel no matter what.
Exactly.
And, we get a sleeper hold, but it turns into a ref bump as Bret is thrown to the outside afterwards. But the ref gets right back up. I thought that would be more of a thing, but it didn't turn out to be much.
Of course not.
We get a slam on the outside, and Bret and Shawn work on the outside. Shawn keeps breaking the count, and Heenan is just going crazy here. He's like, yeah, get back in the ring, break the count. You don't want to win my count out, you won't win the belt that way, blah, blah, blah. That's totally on Shawn's side. It was awesome.
It was pretty cool. I'll give him that. It was pretty cool.
Both guys are running really, really on empty here.
Well, the match is quite a while. The match is like half an hour long. Or
just
close
about.
To it.
Just about.
Close to it. And remember, back in the day, they didn't exactly break that kind of barrier yet. Like, they had long matches, but that was like very, very rare, you see. Like, if you notice, like one of the very few long matches that WWF ever actually had was WrestleMania 6 of Hogan and the Old Warrior. That match was about 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were both just winded.
Shawn hits a super kick, but it's not his finisher, so basically it's just, what a maneuver! That's basically what it's called at this point.
Pretty much.
And then he goes for a weird back suplex where he kind of cradles him under his legs.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That was his finisher at the time. What? That was so backwards to me. At least they got it right, you know? Can you imagine if that was Shawn's finisher nowadays?
A
back suplex?
Terrible. He wouldn't be as recognizable now because
he would have never gotten over with that.
His thing was Sweet Chin Music. That was his thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't Sweet Chin Music. It wasn't even a super kick. It was just, look at that! What a kick! Yeah, it was that. He finally hits his finisher, which is that weird suplex. It only gets 2. At this point, Shawn gets locked up in the ropes. His arms get locked up in the ropes.
Oh my god, and Bret goes flying.
Bret charges at him and fucking destroys his nuts, destroys his chest, everything. Gets tangled up in 5 different ropes, even though there's only 3 of them. And just, it looked nasty. It looked cool, though.
It was cool to watch because Michaels moved out of the way so fast, and you just see Hart flying towards the ropes, and it just gets hammered with everything at the same damn time. It was really cool. I remember watching it, and I literally said out loud in my house, holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that at all, honestly. That was a good little sell that he did there. That was really cool.
Shawn goes to the second rope and goes for a dive, but is caught in the sharpshooter.
Oh no, sharpshooter time, and what happens during the sharpshooter usuly? And
usually they tap, but there were no taps at this time.
Exactly. This time it was like shades, almost, foreshadowing the screw job, kind of, if you think about it. Michaels did not tap out at all.
Well, what it really foreshadowed was WrestleMania 12, because it was the same exact spot at the end of the Iron Man match, when Shawn goes for a dive, and Bret gets the sharpshooter. But the difference is they had 30 seconds left, and Shawn didn't give up, and that was
Shawn
the end. That was the end of the 60 minutes everyone knows about.
And
that
match. And almost the same ordeal, not almost, but kind of at 13 with Austin versus Hart. And that's how the match ended. Was Hart had Austin in the sharpshooter, and Austin is just bleeding like a stuck pig.
Yeah.
And he never taps or anything like that at all. Yeah. And people talk all the time about how if there's anything they remember that one night is just the look.
That was the only thing from that show.
The look on Austin's face when he was just bleeding so bad. Just that look.
Yeah.
Which I completely understand because Austin sold that
It was a great visual, yeah.
It was.
So, basically, goes for the sharpshooter, gives up, and that's it. Bret Hart retains the WWF Championship. And then, what happens after that? No one could have fucking guessed what happens next.
Ho, ho, ho!
Fucking Santa Claus!
Santa's coming to town!
And
Santa's coming to wrestling.
And then it starts snowing. It literally, the snow comes from the ceiling. What the fuck?
It's obviously fake snow, but the fact that they did that
no,
was so
it's
funny.
real snow. It's actually snowing in the building, Chris. Like, what
the fuck?
Like, dude, why the fuck? I understand it's Thanksgiving, and like, well, it was Thanksgiving Eve, technically, and then they didn't have a pay-per-view until Royal Rumble next year.
Yeah.
So, like, they wanted to do a Christmas thing, but this seems so random and so cheesy and so, like, even half the kids in the crowd who this was obviously for, half the kids were like, really? What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, why? And then Vince is selling it. Oh, it's Santa Claus. It's the real Santa Claus. Oh. like Vince believes in fucking Santa Claus.
I don't think anybody broke into him as a kid and said it doesn't exist.
And we're not making this up, people.
No, if you watch the pay-per-view, it ends this way.
That's how the pay-per-view ends.
With freaking Santa Claus coming out and parading with Bret Hart. And, you know, he's hoisting his hand up in the air.
Yeah.
And he's, like, saying, "You're a good boy." And here it comes down the snow. And it's snowing in the middle of the arena. And there's no reaction. Everybody's kind of just watching.
None. Everyone's just like, is this really happening? Is this how we're supposed to leave the show? With fucking Santa Claus and Bret Hart in a Santa Claus hat? You know?
That's right. He puts a Santa Claus hat on freaking Bret Hart.
And then we have a great sound clip at the end of the show with Vince signing off.
After the pay-per-view ends, they have a backstage promo with Bret Hart guest starring Santa Claus. And
Splice.
Okay, Bret Hart. Santa's been watching you all year. You've been a good boy. You had an excellent match tonight. What is it you want most for Santa to bring you this year?
Well, I want you to bring for me most. I want you to bring peace and prosperity to everybody everywhere around the world. And for me personally, I want you to bring to me the biggest, the baddest, the meanest, and the toughest competitors in the entire World Wrestling Federation, just so I can prove to myself and to all the skeptics, everybody everywhere, that I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. I am the World Wrestling Federation champion, and I just want to prove it. And also, I want you to have a Merry Christmas too.
Yes, and to you too, Bret Hart. A very Merry Christmas to all.
I want to put that whole thing in there.
Okay, that's fine. And then post that.
And then basically that's the end of the show. Yeah. So not basically, that is the end of the show. That's is the end of the videotape.
This is the episode. This is the end of the pay-per-view, and it ends on a pretty high note. And I guess people who were watching it were high as fuck. But
you'd have to be. That was fucking weird.
And
what'd you think of the show overall?
I like it.
I was surprised.
It made me realize how good wrestling even was back then.
Yeah.
Before they branched off even bigger into the Attitude Era. You know, guys like Hart and Michaels and Perfect and Ramon, those guys were the new guys after Hogan and Warrior and Slaughter weren't really in the picture anymore. And they took over. And honestly, you know what? I like the pay-per-view.
This pay-per-view is like in a very weird limbo period, because what happened was Hogan left, but then he returned at WrestleMania 9, and then he left like not even a year later to go to WCW. Yeah, it wasn't until after. Sorry to cut you off. It wasn't until after Hogan left the second time where guys like Ramon and Shawn and Bret really became stars.
Yeah.
So this is a really weird
during
period.
This time, it's kind of like what's happening right now in WWE, where they're kind of just giving a guy a title and telling them, "Look, you're holding on to this until we could figure out something better to do.
Yeah.
Which is basically what they did a lot of times with CM Punk.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, he even states in an interview that, like, that's what they said to him, like, basically when they handed him the World Heavyweight Championship when he beat Edge back in 2008, and he won the World Heavyweight Championship. Like, he basically, like, he said on an interview, he's like, they basically just gave it to me to hold. Like, I got no perks, no nothing. Like, it was just me holding the belt.
Yeah, it's a very weird time, but it was consequently a pretty good show. You know, there were a few kind of sleeper matches, like the Survivor Series elimination match wasn't special at all.
That was boring.
It was boring.
It was 8 minutes until they actually started getting good.
Yeah, the casket match was enjoyable for what it was.
The Headshrinkers and High Energy was pretty good. I like that one.
That was a good opener. I thought that was a very good opener. The Nightsticks match. What do you think about that?
It was a good filler.
It was filler.
It was a good filler,
I guess. Yeah.
I wouldn't exactly give it a good match rate, but it was good for kind of just keeping the crowd entertained until they could figure out, okay, who's going to go out next.
Yeah, they popped big for Big Boss Man. He was really over.
Yeah, they really did put him over that time, and Nailz was getting some good jeers too from the crowd, being the heel that he was.
What do you think about the tag match?
I liked it. Except
I thought it had
the ending was weird.
Yeah, everything except for the ending I thought was good. It had
really
a nice, like, big fight feel, like it was a big deal with Perfect returning face.
And that's why I honestly thought that it was kind of good, because the thing is, if you think about it, how it would have been with Warrior. Warrior, being the legend he is, was never exactly the most technical of guys, and in interviews, a lot of people actually complained about working with him because he was such a stocky guy.
And he didn't know how to wrestle.
He didn't know how to drop you. Like, he didn't know how to properly drop you without hurting you.
Yeah.
And people would complain about that. So I guess it made Ramon and Flair feel better that, hey, you know, at least we're getting a technical guy in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because knowing Warrior, he would have probably broken Flair in half by doing his damn gorilla press. But overall, I mean, it was a good pay-per-view. I really do have to say it was a good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it and going over the old school ways again and watching some of the old moves that they would do. Kind of makes me wish they would imply that into now wrestling.
What do you think, like, scale out of 10?
I give like a 7.
7. I would give it maybe 5.5 or a 6. Yeah, around there.
I think your standards are higher than mine.
Yeah, probably. This is the second week in a row that I've rated it lower than you. Sorry. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the JSW review. You want to go ahead and plug all of our handles and things like that?
Yeah, please, guys. Like us on Facebook. We have our page up as Job Squad Wrestling Review. It's easy to find us. And like our page. Follow us on Twitter at JSW Review. Same thing for our Instagram page, JSW Review. And we also will be putting our episodes up on YouTube as well. And as well as Mixcloud. There's an app for it. It's free. Go ahead and download it. Subscribe to us. We already have our first episode up. Really greatly done by Brian. He edited it perfectly.
Thank you.
And so this episode should be up pretty soon as well. And just get the word out, guys. This is only the second episode. We're already getting some people behind us, and we want to get this thing out there. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, watch our episodes on YouTube, and share them, please. If you are a wrestling fan, if you live and breathe wrestling, this is what you're going to want to listen to. This is what you're going to want to put out there, because this is what's going to be on the map. We can guarantee that. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. It was really great. This is a really good show. We'll be back in a couple weeks to put out another episode.
And I'm going to have fun editing this one with all my coughing. I apologize for all the coughing and all the sniffles and my voice sounding all nasally. It happened, you know. But we wanted to get something out there because, like I said, I'm going to be leaving to go home soon. So we wanted to get our second episode out there. So thanks for listening. Ho, ho, ho. Happy holidays from us at JSW Review and Santa Claus and Bret Hart and all those good people.
And also, happy Kwanzaa.
Sure, why not?
Hey,
happy Kwanzaa, Kamala.
We gotta appease to those who share different views. And I think that'll do it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. And we will see you all next month. So, thanks, guys.
Bye. I'll splice in the footage. Oh wait, no, I won't.
You
I'll splice in the interview after this.
You can splice in this.
Yo. Fucking Santa Claus!